Nick Bosa, no sacks in this game, one pressure. Now, the rest of the defense got pressure. He's getting the most attention by far. He got a holding penalty 2 games in a row, though. No sacks. Before, he was like a freaking machine. Is this a blip, or is there some kind of a trend that he needs to address, the Niners need to address, or at least investigate here?
So I do think it is a blip.
Okay.
I think the last 2 games have been a product of, in his case, his personal production, I think, has been getting affected because he's been getting chipped an excessive amount. I mean, every play there, every obvious pass play, the back is getting motion down or the tight end
Okay.
is getting motion to his side, and they're
For
just
sure.
cracking him. And, he always seems to be surprised by the chip and he gets knocked back because he's coming off the
Notice
ball
that
with
too.
such explosion.
Yeah.
Whereas, other guys, like I've seen Myles Garrett beat the chip and the tackle in one play where he just
Yeah.
throws the chip aside and then he runs by the tackle with pure
Yeah.
speed and bend and he gets a sack. But I still think it's a blip. I think the attention, the line slides towards his side along with him getting chipped has caused the increase in production for Samson Ebukam and Jordan Willis. And, Arden Key has been playing well pretty regardless, even though he seems to have one kind of mental error penalty a game, whether it's an offsides or a late hit. But I mean, he plays really hard and he's really effective. And then I think it's helped Armstead too. Armstead's devastating pockets very quickly, and I think the 2 of them are really what's causing this increase in production for these other guys. A lot of Ebukam sacks to me are a product of the quarterback getting moved into his path, even though he is playing better as a pass rusher than he was earlier. So I do think it's a blip. I think Bosa is way too good a player where you could really find a solution for him. I'm sure he'll find the solution of how to beat even when you're going maximum you're putting in maximum efforts to stop him from wrecking a game because he is a game wrecker. So I don't think it's much of a thing, but I do think it's something to look out for because for the Niners to win in the playoffs, obviously they need more than one pressure from Nick Bosa because he's one of their best players, if not their best.
Okay, this is what I'm seeing from Nick. Tell me if you see this too. Like comparing him to Alden Smith, the other guy who was the dominant edge rusher. Alden Smith was different. He didn't charge in as explosively as Nick Bosa. I've never really seen Urban Meyer called him the most potent combination of power he's ever seen, and I see that. Like he's just a load. He's very fast, very strong, and it's one-on-one. He's hard to block, no matter who. Trent Williams, I've seen him. He's very hard to block one-on-one, but he gets so much momentum going one direction that he does seem susceptible to chips. And I've seen him. If you watch him in games, he'll get knocked over by chips. Like his whole balance. Even if he doesn't get knocked over, he has so much momentum going one direction. It takes a minute to gather himself. And I think a guy like Alden Smith wasn't necessarily that style of rusher and probably wasn't as susceptible to those type of things. So,
well, I mean,
Nick Bosa and the
I've
Niners are going to have to find some solutions to this because I don't know. I think he's susceptible to this.
I think if you're comparing him to Alden Smith, to me, Alden Smith is maybe the most gifted pass rusher I've ever seen.
But people forget that, and people think that Nick Bosa is the greatest pass rusher of all time, and he's excellent.
I mean, when I said that, people were like, "Well, give Bosa Justin Smith," and then Trent Williams and Joe Staley both agreed that Alden Smith was the best pass rusher they've ever faced, and people still said, they must not know about Justin Smith." So
I'm just saying with Bosa, he is a monster one-on-one. He's pretty much unblockable one-on-one, but once you bring that chip in, once you knock him from the side, for one, he doesn't seem to see it, anticipate it, and 2, it really seems to knock him off balance. So the Niners have to figure that out. Maybe the solution is
he did say they have chip beaters. He did say because he was upset about it earlier in the season. Because I mean, in my opinion, I understand the penalty flag for it, but I've never seen somebody get more affected by it where they're taking car crash collisions by more than Nick Bosa. Because honestly, usually the chip isn't a blind side. Like you can tell it's coming, even if you're just watching it on the broadcast. You can see how close the tight ends lined up because they're really just looking to get one quick shot. It's not like they're looking to knock Nick Bosa on his butt. So to me, actually, personally, I find it to be a little more of a lack of awareness from Bosa, but he said that there are chip beaters and they're just not using them. And then
that's key. He needs help from the defensive coordinator. That's what I'm saying. Like it's just a good strategy against him, and I don't know how he necessarily beats it other than D'Amico helping him, moving him to different spots.
Yeah, I think D'Amico is pretty smart. I think they'll
No, I
be
think he
fine.
can. And I'm not saying this is something that's going to, derail the Niners. I just think it's interesting that after 3 years, we've found a weakness in Bosa's game because at times he looks unstoppable, and the last weeks he's been stoppable, at least stoppable to an extent. And it's interesting to see. I always look at it as the NFL is like, it's a $1 billion industry, the smartest football people all using their collective brain power to try to figure out solutions to problems. And it took them 3 years. This is the best solution that the smartest brains in the football world have come up for Nick Bosa. And now it's Nick Bosa's turn to find a solution. Nick and D'Amico. I'm curious. I'm sure they'll find it. But that's where they stand.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you bring up Aldon Smith. I brought up the Justin Smith. Somebody immediately said Justin Smith took on 2 blocks every play, almost to give Aldon a wide open shot. Should have kept Buckner, gotten rid of Armstead. I didn't know that Justin Smith used to take off 2 blockers, and that's why Aldon Smith had 33 sacks in 32 games. Man, too bad
I
Manny
remember when the
Lawson and
Niners would
Paris
go and
Harrison
face
were
the
just
Packers.
shattering the sack
Aldon
record.
Smith would get chipped by whoever the running back or tight end was in Green Bay all the time. He would get that treatment too. Are you kidding?
No, but Grant, TE stunts were only run by Aldon Smith and Justin Smith to pad Aldon Smith's sacks. Justin Smith, the 10 years he played in the NFL before Aldon Smith arrived, never ran a TE stunt with Manny Lawson or Paris Harrelson. And those guys, I mean, they both led the league in sacks too. I mean, man.